My God, it is the return of the real star, the real star of the channel. Don't tell David, but it's true. Majin D. Thurman.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Oh my God, he's here.
Probably if I don't sound too energetic, it's because there's a lot of stuff happening the past month or so. So I do my best to keep the energy, and I'm mostly just gonna be here to hear Red gush about. Because if you guys follow me on Twitter or Discord, you guys already know I'm a certified Fire Force stan. So
Mm-mm-mm.
I'll say my opinions on it while I let Red gush like a like
I
like a
can't believe
fanboy.
you didn't get me into this earlier. Like, I don't remember you ever trying to like get me into this because literally I found the first time I remember hearing about this series was when the anime came out. And I didn't even know it was like by the Soul Eater guy. I was like it was told to me like, oh, it's like firefighters but anime, and I was like, that's interesting. That was like the first I'd ever heard of it.
Yeah, I found it by accident
Was
on
it was
back
it pre
when
or post anime?
it was pretty, but it was way
Damn.
it was like when the manga only had like what 15
Oh
chapters.
my God, I'm jealous, dude.
Like it
Ugh.
was, I found it by accident. It was a really long, I want to say a really long time ago, but it was quite a while ago. Because I remember because that was back when I was like into Planet. It was when Planet Unity was Planet Unity.
Oh,
I think. Uh,
I gotta look up when
I
Fire Force started. I'm gonna do that right
I had
now.
a friend, and then I saw it. It was back in the days when I would just go on like manga websites and just pick a manga to read and just read it. And then
Oh, that's the good
I
old
saw
days.
that it, I saw that it just updated, and I was just like, what the hell is Fire Force? This looks cool. And then I read the first chapter, and I was like, well, this is interesting. And then I stopped because I was reading other stuff at the time, but I was planning to come back to it. And then someone that I knew was hyping it up in a Facebook group, but not many people knew about it, and people were talking about it in the chat. So I was catching up to it. That's how I knew about it, and I just kept reading it from
Yeah.
there,
So do
and
you want to
I fell in
guess? Do you want to
love.
guess what year it started?
Yeah, it's like 300, almost 300. I probably say like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
2015.
Ah, yes,
So yeah,
yes.
like six. That's crazy, bro.
The
2015.
same year, the same year as Black Clover.
Oh shit. My God, isn't that crazy that both feels somehow like really new and really old? Like the fact that
Yeah.
that. Oh my God, I'm having a moment right now. Fire Force started when Naruto was already over.
Oh, wow.
Ew. Ew.
Because yeah, Naruto ended at 2014, huh?
Oh my God. I remember vividly when Naruto ended. Oh my
And then
God.
didn't Bleach end the year after that?
Yeah, Bleach was 2015.
Oh, I thought it was 2016.
Maybe it was. You know what? Let me double check that. I don't want to come off as stupid. It's
What was
definitely
what was
Bleach.
I remember something big ending in 2016. Maybe it was
You
Toriko.
might
No,
be.
that's not
You
Toriko.
honestly might be right. I just remember it was like roughly a year after Naruto. Because
Yeah, I know it was
The
like a
Bleach
year.
fans were like making jokes about how Bleach outpaced Naruto in both chapters and like length of time it ran. But at the
Oh.
same, then you could argue Boruto. I don't fucking know. Let's see.
I call Boruto like a sequel, honestly, more than
That's
anything,
yeah, that's
or
true.
or a spinoff.
It brought me to the fucking anime and not the goddamn manga series for the Wikipedia. God damn it.
Yeah, because I know My Hero was 2014, and then
No, you're right. It was
a year,
2016. Yep.
yeah, a year after that, because that's when Jump was trying hella hard to push something new.
My
Because I
Hero is
know,
Naruto's official replacement, right?
yeah, and then I don't Black. I don't know. I don't
My
think Black
Hero was
Clover was
Naruto's replacement. Red Sprite was the attempted replacement of Bleach. I think wasn't that like the
right.
headcanon? Yeah.
Yeah, I stand Red Sprite hella hard, bro. That
I
shit.
still need to read it. I need to go and read it.
Red Sprite and Demon's Plan, fellas, folks, ladies, right, would have been like
Oh,
if they
the
were
new
still
big
going
three.
on today. Yeah, if they were still going on today, it'd probably have like what, like 500 chapters,
Mm.
400
Oh,
chapters,
well, how many chapters does My Hero have?
uh, like 300 something.
So probably like a little bit more than that.
Yeah, like because Red Sprite was 2016, and then no, maybe not 500 because
It'd be a
if
little. It'd
Black,
probably be around the same as My Hero.
yeah, probably like 200 something. 200, probably like 200, like 300. Because Black Clover was 2015, and then Red Sprite, I believe, was 2016, and then Demon's Plan was like a few months after that, I believe. So yeah, I
Mm.
would say roughly around like 300 chapters close to a little, probably a little less than honestly probably the same length as Doctor Stone, because wasn't Doctor Stone 2016 or was 2017? One of the two.
I don't fucking know. But
Yeah, but so
crazy to think about. Yeah, yeah. Tangent. See, doesn't it feel good to be back in podcast mode, Thurman? I know you like
yeah,
it.
it feels good when shit doesn't pop off at your house, but
Yeah, but
but
like here's the thing. This is what you got to learn to beat the depression. You can't let random events that happen to you stop you from doing things that make you happy, right? Cuz otherwise like one bad thing happens, then you let that thing that should just make you sad for a little bit make you sad for a lot of it, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, true, but yeah. So this is
Fire
Korodasha
Force.
time, not jump time. So
Let me
we'll go.
let me just go. Let me just go. All right. So I don't even know where to fucking begin with this series, right? So first I watch I guess my history with it. I remember when the anime first came out, it had like 15 episodes or so, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna just pop it on. This is before I was even watching like dub stuff. I didn't even have Funimation at the time. I hadn't joined the dub master race. It's funny, I used to be very anti-dub, but dubs are like pretty good now. Like Funimation dubs slap. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I mean, I never honestly. My thing with it was like I'm not waiting for a dub. So
But they
if
do
sub is out,
simuldub now.
well, I don't. I have Crunchyroll, so I
No, I'm
just
just
don't
telling you.
be.
So Funimation does this thing called simuldub, where the dub literally comes out either at the same time or like max 2 weeks after, like the Japanese.
Well, I just do sub first, and then if it's an old anime and I know it has a dub, I would go for the dub because I speak English.
Yeah, well, you know what I discovered is that I connect more with as long as it's a good dub, because there are bad dubs, but as long as it's a good dub, I connect more with the characters when it's English, because they don't just like, it's not like they just read the direct Japanese subtitles in English. Like you know how they do in a good dub. They kind of like slightly alter the jokes to make it a little bit more natural, and like feel like a little to English and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like I laugh way harder at like One Piece, for example, in the dub than the sub. Like the jokes hit fucking harder in the dub because it's like you're not reading it, you're hearing it. You know what I mean?
yeah. So
Um,
dubs. I'm not like a sub versus dub, but like that's fucking stupid. Like,
dude, I used
if
to
it
be
has like
sub elitist. Really?
nah, that's I used to hate that shit because it's just like I only reason why I really watch sub is because it's the first thing that's out.
Yeah,
Like
me
I'm
too.
not
And then I was
waiting for
like,
a dub,
the basic.
and then like if I know if I'm just like bored as fuck, I'm like I need a new anime to watch. Like I wish I can go back to it. And it's like just go on a website or
Just do
Crunchyroll or
it,
whatever,
bro. No, what the,
just scroll and find like a fucking like anime and it has a dub. I'm going to the fucking dub because I speak English. I understand
Thurman,
English.
I'll
Why
be
the
your
fuck would I?
therapist right now. Okay, this weekend. What do you got going on this weekend? Anything?
I'm going out tomorrow for
Okay.
my
Do
brother's
you have a
birthday
single free day where you're just home doing nothing?
tonight.
Okay, so when we're done filming this, go to one of those random websites, pick a random manga, and read, motherfucker. I almost said the
Yeah.
Boondocks quote, but I'm not going to.
hmm yeah, I'll do it. And I actually catch
Do
up on
that
some
shit.
anime too.
Like, you know what I'm gonna read when we're done with this? I don't know if you heard the author of Full Metal Alchemist just put out a new manga.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Don't tell me about anything. I haven't read it yet, but I'm okay.
I don't even know anything. I only saw the synopsis for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop into that right after this. It's so fun getting into a new series, man. Like, hell yeah! If you wanted a good idea of what I do, whenever I want a new series, I'll Google like top 100 anime, or I'll go to like a Reddit thread and be like, give me anime recommendations, and then people will just have like these threads of different, like, if you like this genre, try this, and then then one pops out to me. That's how I found Shadow's House. I think it was either Shadow's House or Shadow's House. Yeah. Just try it. Seriously, try it out. Let me know how. Report back.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Oh shit!
Anyway, Fire Force. So
I'm laying on the floor.
yeah, dude, do your thing. So I was watching it. 15-ish episodes or whatever. I was digging it, and it was like, yeah, this is good. But like a lot of times with anime, I'll watch a handful of episodes and then I'll stop forever. This even happened with Hunter x Hunter for me. But luckily, my buddy Andy was interested. Now Andy is a dub only kind of guy. Like it's very hard to get him to watch sub. Shut up, Facebook notifications. Anyway, so that was on my end. I don't know if you heard that.
No.
So anyway, we start watching it, and at this point, I think season 1 was long over, and season 2 had just begun. And we're like, okay. So we binged all of season 1, and we binged through like half of season 2, and we're watching season 2 weekly. And I'm just like becoming hooked because like first of all, this author, I feel like I've discovered like a new tag in hentai that I never knew existed, and like, oh, why I'm so into this shit. Like the way this author both does character design and just character work in general, phenomenal. His characters are almost immediately likable, like on some Oda shit. I would argue. Are you ready for a hot take? I think he's better at making lovable characters than Oda, because almost immediately, like within. I would like in the anime. I'm just because like that was the first medium that I did it right. The first 30 seconds of characters on screen, you know what they're about, you get their vibe, and you fucking love them. Like, do you feel that with his work?
Yeah, definitely.
And what I mean by that is like, let's compare. Okay, Jujutsu Kaisen's great, right? But like, can you feel me on the fact that like I just feel like a show like Jujutsu Kaisen, or a show like Promised Neverland, even in the good arc of Promised Neverland, or a show like
Demon Slayer.
Perfect, thank you. Demon Slayer. Those 3 shows I just mentioned. If you pick out of a hat 3 random characters, it doesn't have to be side characters, it doesn't have to be main characters, any character, just bing, 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 whatever. Like, can you really distinguish them on a personality basis? One might have pink hair, one might have yellow hair, but like at who they are, right? Maybe a little, especially Jujutsu Kaisen characters, man. Like, with the exception of like 3, they're just like business suit wearing serious fucks. Like 90% of them. I hate Jujutsu Kaisen's characters. Like 90%. I'm hot take. Jujutsu Kaisen's characters boring as fuck. I'm sorry. With the exception of Gojo, Todo. That's it. But
nah, bro, I feel you. I mean, we slandered Promised Neverland enough, but like Demon Slayer and JJK's characters, like I personally like a few of them, but like when it comes to like Demon Slayer, a lot of their characters are very memorable.
Aren't very memorable?
Like,
is that what you're saying?
well, yeah, but like they don't really like I wouldn't really put like someone like Inosuke in like the same reign as like Arthur, you know what I mean? Or even like, because I don't think Yuno's that good of a character from Black Clover, anyways. But,
yeah, so the pig guy from Demon Slayer, like he is an attempt at from the author. You can tell he's like, oh, he's wacky and crazy. He puts a pig head on his. I don't even know anything about this character, but from everything that I see from him, and you can confirm or deny here, it looks like how you can tell when an author like. They're leaning into like this is the crazy guy, but like they're very one-dimensional and like that's their entire character, and there's not like it's not like subtle enough, you know what I mean? Where it like instead of it feeling like a real person with those traits, it feels like someone like doing a stage play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'd think, right? Like with a character like Arthur, who's like, I'm a knight and I love being a knight. It's the perfect example. The example I use a lot is Sasuke versus Kurapika, right? They're essentially right? They're essentially the same character, but one's well written and one's not, right? They have the same motivations, the same everything. But Sasuke, the only emotion he can feel post Shippuden, or like, post, I guess, part 1, like all you ever see him, like literally all he'll ever talk about is, like he can't finish a sentence without talking about his clan, or the Sharingan, or the fucking yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? But then
it's funny too, because like it's Vegeta has better character development than
Sasuke.
Sasuke.
And you know why? Because he's able to fucking do other things. He has a relationship with Bulma. He's like Trunks, I love you. I don't know exactly what he said, but he has like this relationship with his son, and he's a multifaceted person in DBZ, where most of the characters are not that.
You can tell Toriyama loved Vegeta the most, bro.
Absolutely, Piccolo too.
Yeah, because it's just funny because even though I don't think Yuno is as good as character as he could be, even I think Yuno's better, because I think Yuno's getting better as like as a character, especially in the Spade arc. He had a lot of great moments, but like when it comes to Sasuke, he's just like, I think people like Sasuke because of how cool he was, and are blinded by the fact that he's not a good. And I think that's the issue with Naruto in general. I think a lot of Naruto fans just aesthetically like the characters and not realize that they're written pretty poorly. Like I would say, like Shikamaru
was made for middle schoolers, in my era, middle schoolers loved making edgy Linkin Park AMVs to Naruto. and it's and
Yeah.
that is all Sasuke is. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
like when you're into that, then yeah.
I mean, like the only like good characters in Naruto, I feel like Shikamaru, Rock Lee. Naruto was all right until
Yeah.
character got he was Destiny. Like his whole character was ruined in Shippuden because his whole thing was like work hard, beat Destiny, but you nigga, you are Destiny.
Lol, you're actually the Messiah.
So
And
then
you know
it's
what's
just like,
funny too, and we'll get into this. Fire Force is low key doing the same shit where Shinra's the Messiah, but it's doing it well. I didn't think that was possible. We'll get into that. But
yeah, but like when it comes to like, because even then, like I know we keep comparing like Fire Force to like Jump shit, but like even compared to like Kodanasha shit too, like I like kind of read this probably read many Kodanasha stuff, but like just from like off rip, like Shinra's probably one of the best written protagonists in the uh not Shonen Sunday Shonen magazine manga. Because I mean we have like Tokyo Revengers. I don't know if you've seen that. Like Mikey's not Mikey. What's that nigga's name? The main character from the series. I'm bad with names. He's pretty good, right? Like, and then like Eden Zero, made by Hero, same guy who did
Mashiro,
Fairy
yeah,
Tail.
Andy reads
Yeah,
Eden Zero. Yeah.
I recommend it by the way. I heard the anime was shit though, but
I read a good 15 chapters of it. I like his gravity powers.
it's pretty it's Eden Zero, right? Is literally Hiro Mishima saying, "You guys underestimated me with Fairy Tail. I'm going to show you I can kill people."
That's exciting. But yeah.
Like he's literally killed main characters. Not even kidding.
Ooh,
He's
exciting.
killed off main characters.
Until they magically come back in the last chapter.
No. Legitimately, like he killed off main characters, and it's even dark too because spoilers in 3, 2, 1. There's this character who has the ability called like time a cat leaper, and essentially what she does, she literally just jumps to another universe.
Oh.
So technically, the first universe that she's in is still around, and in that first universe, most of her friends die. Like the main character dies, and she just jumps to another universe where he's alive.
That's like some Rick and Morty shit.
Yeah, so it's Eden like. So he's literally like, so I'm saying like, and it's funny because Fire Force has competition in Shonen Mag. I honestly, I keep telling David this, and David I think low key agrees with me. I think Shonen Magazine lineup is low key kind of better than Jump's current lineup. Like I wouldn't say better, but it's on
more
par.
diverse, easily.
Yeah, because like. Because Shonen Magazine has a lot of good stuff, right? Like Fire Force, like Eden Zero, like Diamond No Ace, like the Power Rangers manga, right? Like
I don't even know there's
To
a Power
Your
Rangers manga.
Eternities. Not actual Power Rangers manga, but basically like something similar, right? Like shit like that, right? Like it has like a lot of good stuff in it, and like Jump has some good stuff too. But let's be honest, most of the shit Jump has is ending. Like I know My Hero fans
I'm still not
are
worried
ending.
about that. Like I'm sure they have a line of infinite authors that want to get in there. They'll find them.
Oh yeah,
find
of
shit.
course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying like most of the stuff that people are standing over is about to end soon, right?
I'm sure Jump is panicking. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jump is like trying to figure out what, because I mean I know a lot of people are saying like what Black Clover at 60 million is gonna get axed and but they're not gonna axe. I'd be shocked.
There will be a time where Black Clover is actually like literally like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like the one thing like holding fucking Shonen Jump up, because isn't Black Clover like confirmed going like One Piece length?
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. But I'd be shocked if Jump acts as a series that's making them money. 16 million is still pretty fucking good.
There's no way. Anyway, do you mind if I unless you have
yeah, so
I just gotta finish my
yeah. So I just want to say that because like, and it's ironic too because Fire Force has 16, 17 million, but no one calls that a flop.
Well, it's funny you say that. Fire Force criminally underrated. I don't understand why so little people talk. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, people talk about it, but people don't like the fact that it has a lot of edge in it.
Real life don't talk about it. I'm telling you. Okay, let me give you a story. So I think I may have told you this, but maybe not. At the con, because this wasn't the con you went to. At the summer con, you remember how we had a summer con?
Mm-hmm.
The English dub voice actor for Rekka. You remember who Rekka is? The guy with the star eyes, who's like my stars. From the early arc that was like feeding bugs to children and shit.
Yeah, I remember him.
That English dub of that guy, I went up there, and you know how they have all the different papers to sign and shit for different characters or whatever? I asked him for a Rekka one, and at this point, it's like the end of the day. I asked him for a Rekka one, and he's like, "You're the first person this entire con that's asked for anything Fire Force."
Yeah,
and we had a discussion about how just disgustingly underrated Fire Force is. It's so weird.
it really is too, and it's crazy because the sales say otherwise. Like clearly, people love it. 17 million is not like people. I don't understand. I really do. I'm really am upset that I'm not really upset about it because it's just it's fucking stupid. But it really is unfortunate that nowadays we have the numbers and we can crunch the numbers for sales for manga in general. Now I'm pretty sure we could always go back then, but not no one really cared back then. But I'm really upset. Not really upset, but it's unfortunate that that shit is a thing now because that's all any Twitter cares about. That's all people care about, right? Like I can't even fathom the fact that for some reason 17 million, 16 million is seen as a flop or too low
Because to these
comparatively.
people, if it's not on the top 100, it's like a failure.
Like, cause I legitimately looked at the top. Like, I literally looked at like some of the best selling manga of all time. Like One Piece, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Demon Slayer's on there, Go 13. Like, there's so many manga. Like Gintama is like 250 million. Like Hunter x Hunter like 300 like 50 like million or some shit like that. Right. Like I've seen so many manga like the 400, 300 range, shit like that, right? Like 200, like 1900, whatever, 19 million, whatever, right? And I'm just like, all right, so like, why is these sales like a sense like there's some series in that top 100 that are low key kind of ass, and
Yeah, because it doesn't mean shit.
like imagine thinking like Demon Slayer is better than Full Metal Alchemist just because Demon Slayer sells more.
Do you know how many hundreds of millions of people watch NFL? Like that's good or something. like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, so it's just like
popularity means nothing.
yeah, and it's crazy to me because like Fire Force, like because I haven't fully seen a lot of people like slander Fire Force for its sales because for some reason
It's
if
just
you're in
not
Jump
talked about.
yeah, for some reason if you're in Jump, if you don't make 200 million in like your first month, you're a shitty author for some. It's fat. It's mind blowing to me that 17 and 16 million is seen as a flop. If it's Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, and JJK have spoiled this new
I
gen of
know.
manga readers.
That's exactly what I was saying, right? I feel like Fire Force has been hella overshadowed. I think the reason it's not being talked about is because of like your Demon Slayers, your JJKs, right? Like if JJK didn't exist, because it wasn't the first season of JJK. There was something really popular coming out around the same time as Fire Force.
I think Tokyo Revengers was out because
Okay,
I don't think that's its biggest competition, but Tokyo Revengers definitely stole the show, and for good reason.
Well,
Tokyo
it's wild
Revengers
too because like the anime, I know you haven't watched the anime, but you've seen the clips and how fucking well animated it is, right?
yeah.
Did you see the thing I retweeted that the first fight between Shinra and Sho? That shit in the anime is like bone chillingly good. Like they have a whole like filter over the fucking episode. It feels like a movie.
Yeah, but to be fair though, when it comes to like Shonen Magazine, it doesn't feel like Shonen Magazine is like as competitive with its like mangaka than Jump is. You know what I mean? With Jump, like the culture at the company seems like you have to surpass like your superiors and like
Yeah,
your
because they're like the
kohais and your
fucking
senpais and
McDonald's
shit.
of manga. Like we're the industry juggernaut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even like inside their doors, like it feels like because even Oda low key is like a credit to this. Like he's like Naruto, like Kishimoto's gone. He's like my greatest rival. You know what I mean? Like even Oda has this moment where he's just like shit. Like he has to compete. You know what I mean? Like it's like a lot. Like because I know all of them. I'm pretty sure like most of our coworkers are like they're really like like all friends and whatnot. But at the end of the day,
I
like
imagine it's
I feel
friendly competition for the most part.
yeah, but you know what I mean. But it's the big fans are fans, so it's like it's very like a lot of competition. But when it comes to like Shonen Magazine, to my knowledge, from the information that we like kind of know, it doesn't feel like that's kind of like that friendly competition culture there. I feel like everyone's just like trying like to write a story, And it's so it's just like I highly doubt like the Fire Force author. It's just
It
like, oh
definitely
shit,
seems more chill over there. Yeah. I mean, and the
yeah,
shit they let him get away with. Do you mind if I? This has been a great conversation. I do want to slowly shift into the gushing that I've been trying to
yeah,
do.
yeah. Go ahead, bro.
This has been great though. Yeah. So basically, I've been holding on to this for 20 minutes. I was gonna finish my comparison of Sasuke and Kurapika, which I did not get to finish. So like basically, like you look at someone like Sasuke, Kurapika, same character, but Kurapika, he is not 100% his gimmick, right? So like Sasuke's gimmick in this instance is I'm mad about my clan, revenge, 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 right? A bad author will make that his entire character. There will be no scenes where he's happy. There will be no scenes where he's hungry. There will be no scenes where he's clumsy. It's all angry, angry, revenge, revenge, right? And then you have Kurapika, one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, where he's like laughing at a little food fight that Gon and Kilo are having, and he's able to like laugh and be awkward and stumble around and be like, what? You know, even though in the back of his mind he's thinking about that revenge. Bring this over to, let's say, Arthur from Fire Force. His whole shtick, because again, this is how this author introduces characters like this. He'll get the first scene of the character, and it will establish their gimmick, right? The immediate thing that makes you love them. And then you see them deeper. It's very similar to what Oda does, but like more efficient. Like he does it in a non-obnoxiously paced way. So like it's like,
well, yeah, but
hold on.
To be fair,
so real quick. So it's like first 30 seconds, Arthur, bam. Oh, this is my castle, and I will be the king knight of the castle. It's like, okay, this kid's like fucking weird and like he wants to be a knight. Yeah, that's his thing. And then you get deeper to it. Like, oh no, literally his power is completely dependent on his self-confidence and perception of himself, which is, I love that. So like there are scenes with Arthur where okay, I'm gonna solo these like 300 dudes, but only if I really feel like a knight. If I don't feel like a knight, I'm gonna be weak out there. So they have to like duct tape a fucking taxidermized donkey head to his crotch and put him like give him a tarp and shit to make it how he has a cape, and then like he feels like a knight. So he looks stupid, but he's like OP as hell, right? And this goes into the later arcs where he's like literally like warping reality because he believes he's so hard that he's a knight. But then it's not that's just his character. You also have like deeper element. You see his backstory as to why he's like this, and his parents like basically brain damaged him by like leaving him so young, and the last thing they said to him, their excuse for abandoning their child was, yes, we're knights and we're off to do an important mission, Arthur, so you protect the castle. And it's like, okay, dad, and he's like literally brain damaged. All right, go ahead.
Mostly his dad, because his mom is just like,
well, his mom was just being drug along by it.
By his mom, like
no, I think his mom is equally guilty, because when you see them in the Nether, his mom is like, "Oh, that's my wise husband," and then they're like, "Oh, well, we felt that our mission was too dangerous to have a child along, so that's why we had 5 more kids in the Nether."
Yeah, his mom was just like, the dick must have been too good to follow.
Absolutely,
to lose.
yeah. I think there's even a line where she's like, "I felt bad leaving my son alone, but I had to follow my husband anyway."
Yeah, it's like even there, I had a moment where she talked. She was like Vulcan, and she was just like, "Yeah, I know my husband and my son are crazy, but I love them, and I'm going to stick." But like she's literally just like, the dad legitimately like believes. She's like, "Son, you become a great knight. No, I left you to strengthen you up." And Arthur doesn't even care. He's like, "Yes, father, I understand." The mom's just like, "I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, but I love them."
Fuck that his father because to Arthur, he believes the whole thing. He thinks his parents are valiant knights, so he's like, God, I respect my parents.
And the mom is just like, "Oh, okay, I guess I have to play along." Like that was probably the funniest part.
Totally differently. I read his mom as like equally. I don't know, because his mom. Remember because they had like. What about the scene where they're like talking about how dangerous it would be to have kids in the Nether, and then they walk around the corner and they have like 5 kids ranging from toddler to newborn, and then fucking.
You not remember though, like, bro, like you not probably remember that scene where like she's low key like acting like normal for like a second to like Vulcan and shit.
I remember the scene where she's like talking about a bunch of weird conspiracy theories, and then she says the one that's accurate. You remember? She's like Alex Jonesing. She's like, and the frogs are gay, and also the Adola is humans' perceptions.
I get the vibe that she's very, very normal, but she loves her family so much that she's just going along with it. I don't actually believe that she believes. Like, I feel like she married like a crazy nigga and like fell in love with him. Like they had like Arthur.
All right, fair point. Counterpoint. Even if she's normal, quote unquote, in her head, to follow this guy makes her at least a little crazy.
Oh, 100%.
And to have 5 more kids with him in the Nether.
Yeah, I told you,
For people that don't know what Fire Force is, it's not the Minecraft Nether. It's basically like the ruins of the previous city. Oh, I got so much more talking to do. Anyway, finish what you're saying, then I gotta get back to my gush.
Yeah, so like, this is our Arthur, like to Arthur, the whole thing. This is really funny. Like I loved his like his whole spiel and everything. So yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So that's just one example, right? Of like he'll introduce character and like I told you about his night element, but he also is just a person. He has moments where he's angry, sad, scared. One of my favorite moments is even though he looks at Shinra as like, like his rival, but also like a devil. He also he slowly warms up to him. There's that first scene I remember really well where Shinra's like having really bad nightmare, like PTSD flashbacks to like what happened with his brother and his mom, and I don't remember. I actually don't remember what he said, but like, he says something like, "You'll sleep more soundly if you do this, this, that," and then Shinra's like, "Are you being nice to me?" He's like, "Shut up, devil." You know what I mean? Like little cute moments like that. And then even like where we are now in the manga, they're literally best friends. Like one of my favorite moments is when he wakes up from the like 3 months of like being possessed by his doppelganger. He wakes up from that, and Arthur immediately is like, "Oh, that's Shinra. That's the real Shinra. He's back." Like Arthur can just tell. Everyone else is like, "Is it? Is it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I can see it in your eyes. That's you." And like Arthur was like, "Oh, thank God for good friends." And then for a moment, Arthur kind of smirks, and then he's like, "Not you, you shitty knight."
That's really funny.
So deep, complex character, right? Whereas in Naruto, it was like, "Sasuke, you're my best friend," and Sasuke, there's never a single moment where Sasuke's like, "Maybe I want to be your friend." It's just like always like, "Leave me the fuck alone."
I saw one moment.
There was one moment in pre time skip, yes.
Not even pre-time skip, like it's been post-time skip where I see like the final like Naruto Sasuke fight. I don't know if it was in the manga, but the anime clip I saw, it was just like Sasuke just like, finally I can kill my best friend.
Yeah, but
like
Naruto
Naruto like uppercuts him, and he's just like, "Nandable, Nandable, Nandable, Nandable."
Oh yeah, over and over and over and over and over again.
No, but
that's just him getting frustrated at how fucking persistent Naruto is.
Like a fucking stalker.
Yeah, no, really. Like, I don't know, man. Like, they could say it all they want. Like, "Oh, we're friends," but like, I didn't feel it, man.
Yeah, Shikamaru was Naruto's real best.
Absolutely.
And people hate Naruto fans hate when you say that.
Naruto fans are low key. I'll use the nice word and say neurodivergent. If not, I'm telling you, dude. You meet someone and Naruto's their favorite anime, immediate red flag. That person is like a serial killer. Do not hang out with them. Probably an incel too, low key.
That's really funny.
You know it, right? Have you seen the Naruto hentai? It's all like cuck shit.
Oh yeah, it's like Naruto cucking Sasuke, Sasuke cucking Naruto, Raikage. Like I don't know where the fuck the Raikage cucking Naruto shit came from, but I don't even know where that fucking joke.
It's because the Raikage is a big, beautiful black man, and people love it.
But I was just like, I don't even know where the shit. Isn't he fucking dead?
I don't think
isn't
so.
The Raikage dead?
The Raikage, isn't that Killer Bee's brother?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's just fucking weird, bro. Like, Naruto is a fever dream.
True. No, it got so unmemorable after the pain shit. It was over in my mind.
Bro, part one, low key would have been a masterpiece. Honestly, like,
should have just ended it.
Like tuning exams, like I'm not even into it because they definitely had more to continue. But like tuning exams, like Sasuke retrieval, like even the Haku shit.
The tuning exams is legendary. Yeah, like that's like one of the best tournament arcs in all of anime.
Like peak, like that. Like Naruto had some peak shit part one, but like I feel like Kishimoto just fumbled the bag like part two. Like
he got lost in the sauce with the Sasuke shit for sure. But anyway, to Fire Force. So that's like one character.
The better franchise.
Yes. And he does this with every character he introduces, right? One of my personal favorites. And he's got one of those normal ass Japanese names, so like my ass. I hate it because he's one of my favorite side characters, but I can't remember his stupid name because it's so goddamn normal. You know what I mean? So I call him Uncle Reaper. You know who I mean when I say Uncle Reaper.
I think so.
Hold on. The fucking guy, the business guy, the guy who works for like a company and he's like super strong, but he likes beating up weak people.
Oh, that guy. Yeah,
Kurano. I fucking love him. He's literally Go ahead. Sorry.
Purebred Japanese name.
Yeah. No, let me. You. Yuichiro Kurano. How in the
Yeah,
fuck?
that's full on like pure Japanese name.
Yeah, no, that's just that I like.
If please let us know if that's racist, and I'll apologize.
No, I mean that to me that feels like if this was like an American series, this guy would be named like Bob Steve. Like,
I was going to say that's the most American name I've ever heard in my life.
yeah. Anyway, so this guy's thing. He gets introduced in to this day my favorite arc in the series. Maybe this final arc's been pretty fucking good too, but one of my favorite arcs in the whole series is the arc where they're trying to retrieve the I don't remember which pillar he was, but remember the orange-haired kid with like the nuke powers?
Oh yeah.
That's such a good arc because I don't know if you remember, Thurman. That arc was like pure unbridled chaos because it had like 3 factions. There was the Fire Force Squad 8, there was the White Clad, and then there was Hajime. So it was the Corporation, the religious extremists, and Fire Force. All 3 of them there at the exact same time to try to get this kid, and it was fucking chaotic.
That's the girl. That's the girl, right? Who could sense fire shit.
Oh
no! I know what you mean.
The one after that. I'm talking about
kid,
the orange-haired kid that was like being beat the fuck up by a Kurano.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the anime, so I don't really know what his hair looks like, but yeah.
Sorry, yeah. The kid with like the nuke powers. He had the star. He had Rekka, the star guy, like his mouth and shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. Yeah, it was the kid that Rekka put the bug in and like he wakened him and shit. But anyway, I love this arc so much because all of them want this kid for different reasons. The Corporation wants him to fucking fuel another power plant because of course they do. The the fucking religious extremists want him to like be one of their messiahs to like activate the cataclysm. And then the Fire Force are like trying to just save him from all that. And you have this such a funny moment because the arc starts by we're here to fight the Corporation, and then the White Clad show up, and then the Corporation people and the Corporation people and Fire Force, they both look at the White Clad and they're like, all right, well we can both agree that they're the greater evil, right? So then they fucking team up against the White Clad. It's so chaotic. There's literally a moment in this arc where they're tossing this child back and forth like a basketball. Like, yeah, and he's just like, please stop. The trauma is delicious. The trauma this kid goes through, and that's where my boy Kurano comes in. Okay. Think of him as reverse Hisoka, but also he's like a big company man. Okay, reverse Hisoka if he worked at like an office job. So his whole deal is that he's literally like top 2 in the verse. Like you've seen like the big implication, with the exception of like, you know, the main characters, I suppose, the big implication from the author in this series is that like the 2 strongest side characters is Benimaru and Kurano. Like, cause you remember that
yeah, bro. It was literally they had the whole
strongest versus craziest.
Yeah, like the strongest was like, bro. Like,
yeah. So this guy is top of the verse, like crazy. Do you remember when he was fighting the huge infernals, like the giant ones that were like showing up at the pillars, and he made that fucking katana out of like ash that was as long as like the entire kaiju?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that shit was clean, dude.
The fights in the series is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'll get to. There's so much to talk about. This video is gonna be so long. I'm trying.
Don't make it too long, but
I'm trying my best. Okay, so his deal as a character is that he's top of the verse. He's stupid strong, but he hates fighting strong people. He's like, no, I'd prefer to just pick on weaklings. And my favorite part about him, because like that alone, that's funny, right? But then he takes it a step further. It's not. The author doesn't just say that's his character and that's the whole joke. He says, okay, he loves picking on weaklings. He's super strong, but he's like proud of it. Like he doesn't think, he's not self-aware that that's weird. He's like, yeah, obviously it's just the natural order of things. I love it. It's my job. Like there are scenes where people are asking him like, isn't that like fucked up? And he's like, no, it's my job. I'm employed by a company to do it. So obviously it's legal. This man's really literally funny. Just like kicking a little child while he's down on the ground, like coughing up blood, and he's like, yes, I love my job. and then there's moments, and the other facet of his character is that he's like a big suck up to the company, right? Even though he could, if he felt like it, he could slaughter them all easily, but he's like such a company man. So there's one of my favorite moments of the whole series. He walks out, and the kid that he's been beating the fuck out of, he's now because they've been trying to get him to awaken his Adola Link or Adola Burst or whatever, and he finally does, and he's like this huge fucking nuke kaiju, like he's literally about to shoot a nuke at the city and blow up the whole fucking city, and so like Kureno walks out and he looks at this kid that he's been up until now enjoying beating the fuck out of, and he's like, no, I'm not I ain't fucking with this, even though again he could totally beat him. So he starts walking away, but his boss is watching from the window upstairs. So his boss calls him up and he's just like, where the fuck you think you're going? He's like, oh, well, he's too strong, I'm not gonna fight him. And he's just like, you're an idiot. And he's like, oh, I'm an idiot, okay. And he threatens to fire him if he doesn't fight him. So he's like, all right, I guess I have to fight him. Like, he's so fucking funny. And then in the future, like, they just always have, like, a fucking company exec with him to, like, threaten his, like we'll get rid of your bonus if you don't fight that guy. He's like, God damn it. Such a funny character. Love him. But then, the last thing I'll say about him and why this is one of my favorite arcs, the kid that I was talking about, his trauma in this arc was completely dependent on, like, his whole story was he was one of those, like, gifted kids where, like, he got, like, all A's in school and, like, he was doing really well, so his parents started being like, wow, we expect so much from you, you're gonna be, like, a billionaire, you're so good, and then, like, he got the first B he got, they were, like, crying in the kitchen, like, oh, what did we do wrong, right? Then you have Rekka.
the first B he got. That's
yeah,
so
no,
funny.
straight up.
That's so accurate. That's so accurate too. That's so accurate for parents now, bro.
I know. And then on top of that, right? Rekka kidnaps him, and then he's doing with the kids, because Rekka, that character, that's a whole other side of Worms. Think of Rekka as, like, one of my favorite ways to describe Rekka. Imagine if, like, Asta or early Naruto, like the very, like, yeah, we can do it, believe it, like that type of character. Imagine if they had that demeanor and that, like, yeah, we can do it attitude, but they were evil. Isn't that incredible? You know, I think I've never seen that before. It's a villain.
And Twitter eat that shit up.
Say again?
Evil Naruto, evil Asta, and Twitter eat that shit up.
Yeah,
bro.
dude, that's essentially what Rekka is, because he's like, yeah, let's do it, as he's, like, punting kids in the stomach. So, like, one of my favorite lines, I told the dub actor this when I met him at the con. One of my favorite lines is, he's, like, beating the fuck out of Tamaki. He's like punching her in the stomach. She's covered up blood, and he's like, look at what you made me do in front of the children. But anyway, so he's, like, shoving these, like, fire bugs into these kids, hoping to awaken the next pillar for their weird religious cause. And so he has this trauma. This kid has this trauma from when Rekka did this to him, where he's literally burning from the inside out, and all he can hear is Rekka being like, "Come on, fight it! If you don't, you'll die. You can do it." So now he's got his entire life of his parents like, "You can do it, you can do it," and then Rekka, "You can do it, you can do it." So his entire trauma, like, he's up there in the sky. And then, of course, the last 2 weeks, he's been beaten the fuck out of by Uncle Reaper. Come on, you can do it. Awaken your fucking flame or whatever. So now he's floating in the sky about to nuke the whole city like, I'll show you, I can do it. I can do it. And, like, so his whole trauma is, you have to be better. You have to be stronger. You have to be better. And this is, I've never seen such a fascinating conclusion to a character arc before, because you have Uncle Reaper, who is objectively one of the shittiest people imaginable. And he's played out like a good guy, because he goes up, and he's in for the least wholesome reason ever. The way that they solve this is he goes up to him and he's like, "Hey, kids shouldn't try to grow up so fast. I want you to stay weak. You don't need to be this strong. I hate that you're this strong." And to the kid's like, "Wow, no one's ever told me that I don't have to be strong before." And it's played up like this wholesome moment, but to Kureno, he's just like, "No, I just want to keep beating the fuck out of you. Stop being so strong." But to the kid, he's like, "Wow, no one's ever told me that before." I've never seen a story like, and then this blows my mind to this day. Both the Fire Force and the White Clad look at that and they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess he's his guardian now. We'll leave this child with Kureno."
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, this guy that beats the fuck out of him, both of them are like, sure. I mean, to be fair, the Fire Force was like, all right, well, I don't think we're gonna be able to get him out of, you know, his clutches, because this corporation's fucking super powerful. But it's just so funny that whole arc ends. And it's never addressed. Like, in the final arc, too, there's a scene where the kid's running around, and he runs into Kureno's doppelganger, and he's like, "You're not Kureno, because you're laughing while you're beating me. Kureno would never laugh because he doesn't find it funny, because he thinks it's the natural order of things." And then the real Kureno shows up, grabs the kid by his fucking hair, and slams his head into the concrete, and he's like, "Here I am, bitch." And he's just like, yeah! more series. This is gonna sound so evil, but man, I respect a series that like abuses children. Not because I hate children, but because it's just usually children are like this weird.
That's a cancelable offense.
Fuck it. Fuck the children. Wait, don't.
Bro, we already talked about Promise Neverland killing off the kids, but that shit.
Pray the kids away. Oh
Pray the kids away, bro. That's the clip, bro.
I'm sweating, bro.
Anyway,
so
man's is happy that fictional children are getting beaten.
Wait, okay, hold on. All I'm saying is, okay, think of like the GTA principle, right? You know how in GTA, like one of the most M-rated games out there, even in that game, you can't kill kids. Why not? What is this pussy shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying in fiction, I'm a big believer in there should be no lines in fiction. So I love when a series, one of the best ways for a series to show me we're not going to hold back is by killing some kids. I'm just saying. Like,
that's why you love Hunter x Hunter so much.
What's up? Yes, absolutely. Oh, the child murder is potent in Hunter x Hunter. Remember when that kid gets eaten? Like, just fuck chapter 1 of fucking Chimera Ant. It's like, we're eating kids. Bam.
Yep.
But no, I mean, like, Hell of a Boss does the same thing. Episode 1 of Hell of a Boss, they have this whole joke where they accidentally like shoot a kid, and they're like, "Oh my god, oh no, that wasn't our target." And then they go and like they bring him to the hospital and they get him all healed and shit, and they're like, "Wow, I'm glad." And then they get like a text and it's like, "Oh no, actually the kid was our target." And it's like, "Oh wow, okay." And then they just like cut the kid into pieces and throw him into a dumpster.
God damn, that's dark.
Yeah, love to see it. So yeah, no, that character's incredible because he just loves. Oh, and it's not just children. Keep in mind, he's also kind of sexist because there's. I don't know if you remember the scene where he goes out there and there's a fucking kaiju in the sky, and he's like, and he just charges at Tamaki and Maki, and they're like, whoa, what the fuck? And he's like, I'm charging at the women. They're obviously weaker. Oh, he's such a good character. Oh my god, I love him. And then like just recently, like the last thing he did in the manga is Benny's doppelganger like went to fight him, and he's like, "No, absolutely not. Tag out, please." And then real Benny's just standing back there. He's like, "Oh, I just figured I'd let you finish." He's like, "Please no."
It's so funny too because they hyped that fight up to be like a big fight, and he's just like, "Nope, not happening." Then Benny Morrow's just like, "Oh well, I guess."
That shit was wild. Both ends of that fight were really anticlimactic.
It's crazy too because like I literally when I saw that fight, I was just like, "Oh shit, okay, so we're gonna get Benny Morrow," because clearly it's been basically confirmed that these two are the strongest, like 100%.
Yeah.
Literally, it says the strongest versus the strongest, like 100%.
Strongest versus the craziest is what it said, to clarify.
Yeah, but he's like, but clearly Benimaru's doppelganger
it's been hyped up that they're the top 2 of the verse for a while.
Like he's clearly the strongest one. Even Benimaru was like he was interested in seeing that shit, right? Benimaru's doppelganger is literally the peak. This man was planetary, literally firing.
He made like a fire ring around the planet, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like man's planetary level, planetary AP, and Benimaru just one shots him. And
that
he's
was
just
wild,
like,
yeah. You know what that reminded me of? It reminded me of that famous moment in Fairy Tail where it's like, how did Urza beat the 300 people? 'Cause she's Urza, right? Because like, really, like I'm low key disappointed that fight wasn't longer, but I get what he was going for. Like, wow, yeah, even Benimaru is stronger than even his own men's perception of him. It's like, okay, I could believe that, I guess.
He was so pissed. Like, this is as strong as you guys think I am.
Yeah,
I'm
that is
fucking
funny.
pissed. Yeah, you
think I'm only
Benimaru.
Planetary?
We can't compare Benimaru to Urza. Urza, man, got spoon fed the entire Fairy Tail series.
Oh my god, I'm just saying that moment. God, I love this series. We've only discussed like 2% of it, bro. Like barely. Okay, there's a couple other things I want to talk about. So the other aspect I wanted to talk about. So literally there's not a bad character in the bunch. Like I'm trying to think of like my least favorite character, and even my least favorite character has things to love. Like if I had to try to think of a character that I didn't like, maybe the fucking red-haired tentacle bitch that Vulcan dates. Like that's made like she's a little boring, but like even her better than most characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. 100%.
JJK slander on the timeline. You love to see it.
Oh my god, dude! Oh, if you want some slander, I'm gonna give you a little hook in our next.
Bro, don't tell them Maki's trash. They'll be upset.
Wait, I love Maki. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but don't tell them that because don't tell them you'll think. Don't tell them that you think like Tamaki's better than Maki.
No, I like them both equally. I don't even think I don't know. I think I like
No, I'm
Maki
talking
more.
about from JJK.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's
There's a
literally,
Tamaki and Maki in here, dipshit.
yeah, and there's a Maki and JJK. That's what I was talking about.
Wait, oh, is that Hammer Bitch?
Yeah, you say hammer bitch. No, that's Nobuta.
Oh,
It's
who's
the
Maki
one
again?
with the glasses. Doesn't have
Uh,
spiritual pressure.
I was excited about her because in the opening there's that cool shot where she lowers her glasses and she can see the monsters, the really shittily designed monsters, by the way. I hate the design. I almost Gojo carries that show. Just put it out there. The fights are really good too. I will give it.
She gets better. She actually has a good moments in that current
Yeah,
arc.
but I just
She
feel
actually
like
gets,
their drama is so real life. It's like too real life for me. It's like, oh, I was my friend with you, and then we had a fight, and now we're not friends. And it's like, wow. Like I just remember, I don't remember. I vaguely remember the whole thing that one of the girls had with the Hammer Girl in like the tuning exam esque moment, like when they were fighting in the woods in that early scene. You remember like that moment where, oh yeah, because like one of the girls used a gun. It was like, remember like Gun Girl fighting Hammer
yeah.
Girl.
Maki's twin sister.
Yeah, and they were like they had some fucking beef over something, and it just was so boring to me.
Yeah, bro. That was the famous. I don't care. I dress up when I want to, and
Oh
ooh, that's
yeah,
when
yeah, that was a good line.
the internet went crazy because Nobuta's the only character, the only character, best written female character
She's
that
a
does that.
feminist. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
because she,
Even though,
it's
dude,
because she doesn't show skin. Because she's a great character. Because she doesn't show skin.
dude, yeah. Oh my god. Okay, okay. So
Even
anyway,
though Noel's right there, Maki's right there.
so this series, Fire Force, it's got all these great characters, all of them. Even the worst character is like has something to love about it. Like I can't think of. It's crazy too because like there are so many manga where it's the opposite. There are manga like even Hanako. Like there are some of the side characters that I'm like, fuck this character. But like there's a lot of series where like even let's because One Piece has a million characters, but there are series. Almost every series there's like okay, there's characters I don't like. There's some series where there's like 3 characters I do like and the rest of them I don't like. Fire Force, and I think I would say Fire Force and then maybe like Bleach are like 2 of the only shows I can think of where I like almost all the characters. Like the only exception, ironically, with Bleach is like Ichigo gets worse and worse and worse, but every single side character in Bleach is
Such
good.
a flop,
Right?
bro. Such a what the I say it all the
Blemish.
time. Not even a fucking blemish, dude.
Gaping
Uh
gangrenous wound.
such a
I don't know what
what
word
the
you're going
fuck?
for.
It's what I called Promise Neverland. Not flop.
Such a flop.
Uh flop.
Missed opportunity.
Let down. Missed opportunity. Close to the slang of that. Not
Wasted
let
potential.
not let. It's something similar to let down.
Uh,
I say it all the time.
uh,
This is a true best friend test right now. You have to help me.
wait, missed opportunity, wasted potential. Um,
Not. It's something similar to like let down and let flop. Biggest, biggest,
I don't know.
biggest. You keep talking until I think of it.
Okay.
I really have to think of this. My ADHD brain won't let me.
What? Okay. All right, let me Google.
Think
I'm googling.
uh,
We're taking a side tangent
let
right now.
let down flop. You can keep
Synonyms.
talking.
No, but like no, because I know if I'm talking and you're thinking about that shit, you're not fucking listening to me. Synonyms for let down.
Flop. Down.
Disappointment.
No, not that.
Well, let's see here. Fall short, underwhelming, dissatisfy, let down.
No, not that. Oh, let me.
Failure.
No,
Fell off plus
not
L plus ratio.
fell off. That's actually funny. Uh, Closer.
Frustration, collapse, abortion, omission. Now I'm just reading. Oversight, neglect, disappointment, a botch job.
But it's close. Biggest.
Sinking ship.
No.
Failure, failing, deterioration, deficiency, defeat, decline, collapse, breakdown, downfall, fiasco, flop, frustration, implosion, inadequacy, loser.
Some of those are too smart for me.
That's true. Man, I don't know what the fuck. This is stupid.
Just keep talking. I'll think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
So all the characters are great. The plot is so this is where we kind of go into the plot. I guess I'll really quickly touch on the powers. Power system's phenomenal, right? Because it's like imagine if Avatar: The Last Airbender was like, we're gonna make a show, but it's only about the Fire Nation. And at first you'd be like, well, okay, how many ways could one possibly make firebending unique and interesting? This man on some Ichiro Oda shit. Okay, like I don't know how he fucking comes up with so many different powers and somehow ties them back to heat or fire production. It's insane. Like, I'm gonna tell you one of the first moments I knew that this manga wasn't fucking playing. Okay, when Shinra and Sho had their first fight. Thurman, are you with me? I want you to be hyped with me here.
Mm-hmm.
So Shinra and Sho's first fight. When when they're like, what's going on? Sho can just, like, Dio style, the worldo, stop time and, like, attack. What's going on here? It'd be one thing to just be like, yeah, he can stop time. That's what a fucking shitty author would do. He would just be like, yeah, he can stop time. No, absolutely not. We're going fucking big brain on this shit, okay? What he does is he taps into a Dola, so that's why he has, like, this immense firepower to do this. And he ever so slightly... He produces enough heat for like a fraction of a second to heat up the entire universe. The entire universe. And the entire universe ever so slightly expands, because that's what happens when you heat up things. And because he is at the eye of the expansion, he is able to move in time where everyone else is temporarily frozen. I don't know if you guys ever read into this. Like, they talk about how if you traveled out from the Earth at light speed and then traveled back to the Earth at light speed, you would have gone back in time slightly, or at least it's either that or you'd go forward. Something like that. But that is how time is gravity, right? Like gravity affects time. There's also things that talk about like if you're next to a black hole for a long time, I think it's like you could age like 10 years at a black hole, and then you could leave the black hole and go to Earth, and it would only been like 2 years on Earth, right? So time is affected by that shit. So the fact that he's the eye of the storm. So this fight, and then you know how Shinra fucking counters this? He taps into a Dola and says, "Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna travel faster than the speed of light." And again, most manga would be like, "Oh yeah, he's traveling faster than the speed of light," and then just expect you to accept that, right? And in the back of your brain, you'd be like, "Okay, but if anyone traveled at the speed of light, they die, right?" Like, every time that happens in a series, I'm like, well, the body wouldn't rip apart. You'd turn into atoms. But this fucking author, this genius man that deserves his knob slobbed, he thought about it. He was like, no, actually, he does die. He travels so fast that his molecules split apart into photons, and he temporarily dies. But because he has traveled faster than the speed of light, he goes back in time. He turns time back just enough for him to undie. So this fight between him and his brother is between a man who can heat up the entire universe and stop time temporarily, and another guy who can travel faster than the speed of light, kill himself, and then rewind time to unkill himself. It's one of the most insane fights I've ever seen in anything. On JoJo level shit. On Final Battle JoJo level shit. So good. I remember when I was watching this with Allie. Because Allie was like, she went into it like kind of cautiously optimistic. She's like, okay, let's see where this goes. By the time we got to this fight, she looked at me and she was like, this is so high concept. Like, this is really big brain shit. Like, I would have never expected it from like the little clips I'd seen of Soul Eater. And especially if you're only on Annie Twitter and all you see is like, we're mad about this because there's boobs and there's fan service. You'd think it's just some shitty fucking idiotic, typical fairy tale-esque manga. This shit goes hard. And I haven't even gotten to the reality breaking shit that's going on right now in the manga. My God, you have something to say before I finish my gush? I have one last topic to do.
Continue.
Oh my God. Well, I would like a little bit of your take.
No, I'll go after you. I'll have my moment.
So,
no worries.
The last thing I want to talk about, now that you know how good the powers are, you know how good the fights are. Oh, and also aesthetically, the art. Oh my God, the character design. This guy knows how to. He gives his characters drip. Thurman, confirm.
It's actually kind of interesting. Because the dripping fucking formula is kind of ass, if I'm being honest.
Really? So he definitely. Fire Force.
Yeah, I've heard you can ask David's his opinion on it too. Don't have to take my word for it.
Their design. They're a little wonky from what I've seen, but I've never been super.
There's only like a few, like Black Star's design cool. The Wolf guy's design cool, but like, I mean, other than that, like Maki, ass, like Medusa ass, Corona ass, like Fitz and Soda were kind of ass, like. Oh, fuck it.
Interesting. Anyway, so the current arc. Once again, doing things that I've literally never seen from fiction. So it's revealed. This is massive spoilers. If you want at any point to read this without being spoiled, read it now before you listen to me tell you about this. So the entire series, they're talking about this cataclysm that happened 300 plus years ago, and they're talking about how the world that they live in is our world. It's just post-apocalypse, right? So it's like one of those shows where it's like, yeah, this is post-apocalypse America, or this is post-apocalypse our world. Okay, it's not some fantasy world, it is our world. A cataclysm happened where the whole world caught on fire, basically. And now they're like slowly rebuilding, right? Jesus Christ. Anyway, too much talking. So.
You're sick.
No, I'm not sick, trust me. It's just allergies. So getting my throat going. Well, I don't think so. I mean, that's possible, but I don't think I am. Anyway, and of course the religious organization, they're trying to bring about a new cataclysm because you know how religious extremists are. They're like, lol, we love it when bad things happen to humanity. So this whole time they're discovering, okay, Adola, this like these fire powers we get, the spontaneous human combustion that happens, they start to learn it's coming from an alternate dimension, right? It's a dimension parallel to ours. At first you just assume, okay, it's like this weird fire dimension that's parallel to ours. And these fire demons and all this weird fiery shit is leaking through this dimension to ours, and it's causing all this shit. That's what you think at first. Slowly, you start to learn it gets and then because of that, at first you think that you assume the villains and their goals are super simple. Like, oh, we just want to turn the Earth into a new sun. We just assume that's their whole goal. But then you learn that Adola is actually a world comprised of humanity's collective unconscious. So what that means is like all the thoughts you've ever had, all the negative, positive, whatever, it just kind of slowly amalgamates into this alternate dimension. The reason it looks like a hellscape is because most of humanity's thoughts are negative and gross and disgusting. You know what I mean? And what they talk about in the manga is that all humanity, when you pile all of our thoughts together, basically the loudest thought amounts to, God, we just want to die. Can we talk about how incredibly dark that is for a manga?
Yep. And I mean, shit, even Red Soldier, that shit's dark as fuck. So it makes sense.
That's facts. I mean, but that's facts though. Like, especially like Gen Z and shit, and the way that the world's going now. Like, you see how many times like our entire generation is comprised of like suicidal humor. Like, can't wait to die. Well, you know what I mean? So it's totally facts. So the reason that Adola looks like a fiery hell landscape is it's because humanity secretly wishes for its own destruction. So it, through the power of their disgusting, hateful, just want to die thoughts, it created this alternate universe, and thus created the first cataclysm, because it was humanity wishing so hard for their own destruction. So they created. There's a really good quote in one of the recent chapters where it's like, God didn't create humanity; humanity created God from their own despair, and that's essentially what. So the main villain of this series essentially is the evangelist, who at first you think is just some alternate dimension alien, but it's actually a being created from all of humanity's history, like, okay, oh my god, how do I even word? It's so confusing, but I love it. It's like so high concept. It's a being created from the entire history of humanity's perceptions of multiple deities throughout history. That's what this deity is. And so the deity was created with a mission from our unconscious thoughts, which was, please kill us. Incredible. So the White Clad look at their mission as like essentially assisted suicide. They're like, we want to pull the plug of the world because everyone just secretly wants to die, and that's salvation. So we're just trying to help you. Now, and this gets even crazier because one of my favorite, this is nuts, okay? It's revealed. Oh my god, I don't even know how I'm going to explain this. Because every time there's a cataclysm, the world, the real world, and humanity's perception of the world inches closer and closer, because that's what Adola is. It's humanity's unconscious perceptions and thoughts and yada yada, right? So there's a moment where Shinra uses his faster than light shit, and he goes back in time to our time period, 2020-esque time, and he's looking at modern day Tokyo. But it's not a drawing of modern day Tokyo. It's like a Google map picture of modern day Tokyo, a black and white, real life, real human picture of Tokyo. And at first you might think, oh, it's just a weird artistic choice. No, Shinra's looking at these real people, not manga people. He's a manga person and he's looking at real people, and he's talking about how I tried to fight back the nausea. What am I looking at? This is making me sick. And then he goes back to the modern day and he's trying to describe it to Arthur, and he's like, they were humans. They had 2 legs and 2 arms and 2 eyes, but they looked different. They looked weird. So now all of a sudden I'm reading this and I'm like, okay, so you're telling me in the Fire Force world, it is canon that 200 something years ago they were normal humans like us, but now it is canon that they canonically look like manga characters because the Adola, the cataclysm from Adola merged humanity's perceptions with reality, so that cataclysm turned them into manga characters. Do you understand how fucking psychotic that is? It's like insane. I've never... Genius shit. Like, I just can't. So, yeah, and then you have like a flashback. This chapter went like viral on Japanese Twitter when it came out. I was reading like about this on Reddit. The chapter where it's that one nun lady's backstory. Do you remember that one? The famous chapter where it's all pictures.
Yeah, I remember that shit. I shared that shit in the chat. You were like, what the fuck? I shared that shit.
So yeah, Okubo, that always trips me out because it's like close to Kubo, but yeah, he pulls some wild shit where he has a flashback to one of the villains who was a person that lived in our time, who was a real human, and it's just all pictures of a real human paneled out like manga. And so like in Fire Force, it is canon that they were once real humans and then they became manga characters because of the cataclysm. So now you're reaching into weird, trippy, the characters know they're in their series. It's so weird because now you're getting minor character. Now that the cataclysm. Oh, and that's the last thing I'll say. The last thing I'll say is this author took the laws of physics, the laws of reality, and just threw them out the window for this final arc. It's insane. Now that the cataclysm's happening, nothing makes sense, but in the best way possible. So think about Arthur. What did we say about Arthur earlier? His power is all about his own belief in himself, right? His self-perception. Now that he exists in a world that is completely dictated by your self-perception and your unconscious thoughts, he's like a god now. So if he believes that he can video game fast travel, he can just raise his sword to the sky, and 8-bit effects will literally rain from the sky, and 8-bit travel him like a fucking dungeon or a Dragon Quest game to wherever he needs to be. If he believes he can breathe in space, he can just breathe in space now. Because that's how delusional he is. So fucking... We just had a fucking 10-chapter long fight where the 2 most delusional characters in the series, because again, now that the cataclysm has happened, this is a world where perception becomes reality. So of course the 2 most delusional characters in the series are now like gods, because their belief is their power. So you have a guy who truly believes he's a dragon fighting a guy who truly believes he's a knight, and they're fighting in space. And now, because they're in because like the stars are like drawn like stars and the moon has a face on it because it's the humanities. It's just crazy. Series is amazing. And now you have the most recent chapter. Like there's some fucking Soul Eater, Soul Resonance shit going on, and like I don't even. It's just been a wild fucking ride. This series, and I think I'll end off with this, Thurman. You were talking about how the dynamic with this other magazine just feels so different than Jump. To me, it feels like they give their authors more free reign, like more chance to try weird, wacky, out there shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that because Shonen magazine, I think, like I said, I think it's just the culture of how it's done, and because you can tell, like just from like this type of stories. I think Jump is getting more progressive with the type of stories we've been getting now.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man was a huge step for them.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man, even Problem of Neverland, despite how shitty it was,
the one kid they allowed them to kill.
Yeah, and all the extra stuff like that, and Undead Unluck and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff is becoming progressive, but I think Shonen Magazine has always been progressive in the sense of that, like it's very like they as long as you're not flat out doing porn and shit, like they give you a lot of free reign to do what you want to your series,
Yeah, well, because that's what I think. Again, with the exception of Chainsaw Man, like. There's not a lot of Jump series that I'll read where I'm like genuinely surprised with the direction it goes, right? Like even I love One Piece to death, but there's never a moment where I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe Oda went there. You know, I can't believe he did that. That's shocking. You know what I mean? But like with Fire Force, like there were moments in Fire Force where I felt like I was like at like a grindhouse film festival watching like an indie film where with no rules, no rating, anything could happen. Like I miss that feeling in fiction where it's like anything could happen in this series. You know what I mean? Like there were moments towards the final arc where when the final arc was starting and he was going back in time and seeing real ass humans, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm reading a shonen anymore. I feel like I'm reading like a fucking psychological horror. Like, insane shit. And I guess I'll end off by saying this. Fire Force literally reinvigorated my love for shonen because like as I've grown up, like it's not just being shonen will do it for me anymore, right? Like you can't just like plop down a Black Clover or a JJK and be like love this just because it's shonen. Like there has to be lovable characters. I have to love the power system. I have to love the drip. Those are the three things. The three things I gotta love, right? And like Fire Force just proved to me, like, oh yeah, no, not only can shonen still fucking slap hard, but it's like it can be like. It can tell stories as deep and as powerful as like any like award-winning movie, like because this shit has been as mind-blowing as like some of the craziest movies I've ever seen, and all while being a shonen, and it proves, right, that like because I'll always have a soft spot for the fights and the training and like those elements of shonen, but you have to bring something else to the table too. It can't just be fights, right? So Fire Force succeeded in doing that to me. Phenomenal characters. Insanely interesting plot. God, the aesthetic and like meta fourth wall breaking shit. You give me meta fourth wall breaking shit, I'm a fun. And not just Deadpool, to clarify, right? Like Deadpool type stuff, that's fun, but it's easy to do that, right? Like it's easy for Mineta to look at the fucking screen and be like, haha, I'm Mineta and I'm in a manga. You know what I mean? Like that's sure, whatever. But I'm talking about fourth wall breaking where it's trying to be creepy, where it's like. No, like this character, like one of my favorite moments is in Undertale where you beat the game and then Flowey pops and you try to open up the game again and Flowey pops up and Flowey's like, hey, the characters are happy now. The only person that's a threat to their happiness now is you. Because if you start a new game, you delete all that and that's gone, right? Or the moments where Sans looks past the character or looks past the character model and he's like, no, I'm talking to you know what I mean? Like I love shit. I love moments in games that do that, and I love moments in manga that do that. And like that chapter where the villain's having her flashback and she's talking about like how toxic social media is, and she's looking directly at the screen, like she's talking to you. So I've never had a shonen like make me feel that way, and like probably ever. So yeah, Fire Force easily one of the best series of all time. I don't know why it doesn't get more love. please go out and read it. It's reinvigorated my love for manga. I'm gonna sit through and read Soul Eater at some point, just because it's tragic that this guy. Of course, I fucking find this guy as he's like 10 chapters away from literally ending his career. Tragic. Because I goddamn love his writing style. So yeah, final comments from you, Thurman?
Yeah, man. It's just I've said my piece about Fire Force a lot throughout the thing, so it's actually really good. Definitely one of the best ones in current Kodansha magazine right now, besides like Eden Zero and Tokyo Avengers. Because a lot of stuff in that magazine is pretty good. If I would say my top 5 Shonen magazine manga right now, I'd probably put Fire Force #1, Tokyo Avengers #2, Eden Zero #3, the Seven Deadly Sins sequel, and the Power Rangers Super Sentai one. And Junior Trinity is good too, but like it's good shit, bro. It's good shit. It's unfortunate this is going to be his last manga. Well, he says that, but he never. Maybe in a few years down the road, he might want to come back.
Confident about it. He said it a lot.
I hope he at least would, create some other stuff, maybe go to a different industry, because talent, I don't know how old he is, but talent like that just retiring, I get it, but it'd be unfortunate. Yeah. But I mean, you got to respect it. He gave us two great series. Soul Eater is hit or miss for some people, but Fire Force is definitely his magnum opus in my opinion. So, no, for sure. Yeah, that's real. Yeah. You.
Who is your favorite character in Fire Force, Thurman?
Honestly, probably Arthur. To be honest,
that's a good choice. Okay,
I love Arthur and Shinra, but all of them are really good. But I think probably Arthur.
Because you already know mine. It's my boy Uncle Reaper. Who's your favorite non-main?
Honestly, I really like Tamaki. I like her cat aesthetic.
Oh yeah, that's a good aesthetic.
Cat power. And
you like her lucky.
Really happy they gave her a boost too. Yeah, that's cool too. She reminds me of like Yuki Rito, but her cat ability is kind of interesting too. I also like Captain Burns. It's cool.
Remember when he died?
Spoilers. Wow.
I told people spoilers a long time ago.
Show is cool, but I feel like we should have seen more from him. Honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I liked. I mean, we got that little mini arc where he was like 2 or 3 chapters of him like going from like the hospital to the library to looking up his family. I really, really enjoyed that with him and Arrow.
Yeah, that's just really cool. But I'm just like,
more. I agree.
Yeah, I wish we'd have got more.
Well, in general, I wish this was not like ridiculously long, but like I wish this series was like a little longer. Like we could have used one more arc before the Cataclysm, I think.
Yeah, so
that feel like it really quick. Like it felt like it was like, haha, the rescue Obi arc. Ooh, Obi's kidnapped. Just a normal, fun little Fire Force arc, and then all of a sudden it's like shit's going down. Like it's just like whoa.
Yeah, it was I mean, he did say a while ago that he wanted to end it like a certain volume. I think
he wanted to end it at 30, and he's actually about to head into 31, so he's actually overextending it a little bit.
Yeah, he's pushing it just a little bit, but
it's just like the Beastars author, she said a certain volume and then she went one more over. I feel like it's kind of like when you say, like, yeah, I can finish in 10 chapters, and then you get to, it's like, oh, I still need to do like 5 more things.
Yeah, so I mean,
he's taking his time.
Yeah, probably like what Geekdom author did, so.
I will say that this though, because I've been binging it doesn't feel rushed. Like, I think the series could be longer, but this final arc has not felt rushed to me, and I'm really, really appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Because, like, he really, really did give every single character that, like, meant a damn, like, a nice, decent fight.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love the way he draws fights.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. This is I'm gonna tease this for our One Piece review next week. I got some fucking slander to say about One Piece. I'm finally getting sick and goddamn tired of the One Piece art. I'm just saying it. All right, it's pissing me off.
Yeah. Oda is hanging on for dear life right now.
Oda's decrepit and he's crumbling away.
Like Roboco has been doing it. Has been showing us the inside of fucking Jump, man. Roboco is the Messiah.
I guess I better read that. But no, I mean, like...
It's a gag manga. You're either going to laugh or you're not.
Well, I'll check it out. This series, though, like, it's it reminded me like, oh my god, like this is what manga fights are supposed to be. Like it's supposed to be a visual medium where it's like clear and beautiful and easy to read and easy to understand. Because like I've been reading One Piece for so long, I started to think it was my fault. Like, oh man, I just must be stupid because like sometimes I can't comprehend what's happening in a One Piece fight. So I'm like, I guess it's my fault. And then I read a Fire Force fight and I'm like, this crystal clear, and I'm like reading it so naturally. I'm not like having to stop and like squint and be like, what the fuck is that? It's so good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll
final
talk about
final
that.
thought, bro.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was really good. Now, did you enjoy yourself?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
I knew it. All right, I'll see you next week for the fucking One Piece review, baby.
All right. Peace.
Peace.